Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the Phoenix channel. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the show with no sponsors. Just another kicking it session here on a beautiful Saturday, on a hot Saturday in Phoenix. When I say it's hot, I mean it's hot. Hold on, I gotta fix my audio here. Let's see here. Can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully you can hear me okay. Said something about my audio being off. So if you guys are having issues hearing me, definitely let me know. I want to check something real fast. Okay. So I was on mute on my Zoom call. For those that are interested, I do have a link to a Zoom live chat. So it's something we're going to try here that's a little bit new. Basically, the intent is to have people drop in to the show and interact with me live. So you can find the link to the Zoom call in the link below. Right in the description, it should be there. If you have any issues with it, definitely let me know. In fact, let me double check. Let me double check that that's actually working because I am getting some issues here. Let me see. Sign in. Oh, you know what? It looks like it signed me out for some reason. Here, let's do this. Let me log off of this and let me come back, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, take two. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I had some issues with my, I think the Zoom call. So I'm trying it again. I started it back up. And for those that are interested, you should be able to see a link below on this page that allows you to join into that Zoom call. The intent is to have people just drop in when they'd like to and interact with me and interact with the community, as opposed to just doing something where I'm talking in the screen and just talking to you guys. It allows for different personalities to come on and interact with me. So I'm hoping to get some people to join in tonight. I did do some tests with my brother Rezi, so shout out to you, Rezi, on that. And I think we got it working. We might have a couple issues here and there, but it's nothing that we can't figure out probably while we're doing it live. So it is here, as you guys can see. I haven't activated the actual start of the video yet. I only see myself as the participant, but if someone drops in there, I will go to this page and we can just start talking it through, and yeah, hopefully it should be an exciting show for you guys. So if you're new to this stream and if you like the content and you think there's value here, hit the like button, consider subscribing to this channel. And without further ado, I want to just kind of open up today's show with a little bit of an agenda and a roll call as well. So let's see who we got actually on right now and who's giving a shout out. We got Rebel Jade, so thanks for tuning in. We got one participant so far. I'm guessing that because I had some technical issues, maybe people joined in and then joined back out, but it normally takes a few minutes anyway to start these off, which is fine. What I'm probably also going to do is share a link to this show. So let me see if I can do that quickly. And let's go over there. And let me share the stream. We're seeing people follow my approach here with the good money, with the good money links, which is cool. And I'll explain a little bit about that as we go through the show. But basically, there's some opportunities there for everybody to sign up to this bank for the people, basically, right? And get some shares potentially in this venture. So I kind of liken it to the days of, if you guys remember in the early days of cryptocurrencies, there was projects like Stellar and other ones too that were practically giving away their cryptocurrencies. And this Good Money project kind of reminds me of that, because in a sense, for signing up, you're getting some shares Now, we don't really know what's going on, Break. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. And as I mentioned to others who joined earlier, I do also have a Zoom link in the description below. So if you're interested in interacting in real time and being on the show, you can actually hit that link, and it should actually take you to a page where you can converse and exchange your thoughts on different topics we're going to talk about tonight, which would be cool. But if not, you can also just sit back and relax as well. Whatever works for you guys, it's kind of up to you guys. So, but we were just talking about this news that I want to break to you guys. This good money. I wouldn't call it a giveaway, but they're basically incentivizing people to sign up for their platform, right? They're starting a bank for the people, and if you sign up now as an early adopter, you're getting some reserve of shares. Now, we don't know how much these will be worth in the future, but if you guys are interested in, signing up for something like that for free, there's not really a cost to invest in this venture. It's really just, I think, getting the word out there and getting early adopters to try this technology. They're practically giving these away. So you will also find a link to that in the description below, or you should be able to find a link to that in the description below. I've already had some people retweet my post on Twitter, and they're also doing the same thing now. So it's pretty funny. I think I was actually the first person to see the extra rewards page. And what I'm referring to, guys who may not be aware of that, is this. This is kind of what I saw in the, and I'm not sure if you guys can totally see that, but there was like an actual reward page that was shown for this good money application, and they're claiming about 12,000 shares reserved just for signing up. And of course, the early adopters for all these technologies will benefit the most. That's just the nature of how cryptocurrency has been since the very beginning. I can remember in the early days when Max Kaiser was giving away Bitcoin. As ridiculous as that sounds, he was actually doing that. I have a lot of interesting stories like that. So even though it seems maybe a bit odd, to me, it's kind of goes in those lines of the early days of cryptocurrency. So I'd encourage you guys, if you haven't signed up for that, at least give it a look. Do your own research. There's also an excellent video by Cypherglass, Rob Finch, who's a block producer on EOS. He did it looks like we have someone who's joined our live stream. So we're going to get to that in a little bit. But I do remember a guy who here, let's see who's joining here. We got Akon in the house. I'm not even sure who that is, but thank you for tuning in. Let me adjust some controls here so there's not redundant video feeds of me on the screen. So let's see if I can do some adjustments here and get this working right for our show. Let's do the gallery view. How about that? Is that a little bit better, guys? Hopefully that's working for everybody. But as I was saying, in the very early days of cryptocurrencies, I can remember when Max Kaiser would sort of give Bitcoins away almost for free or nearly free in some cases. And that was several years ago. And here we are with, I think that's the same things that are going to happen on applications now. I mean, you saw that with the foundational levels like Bitcoin, but now you're seeing it maybe with applications. You're seeing that first with good money, and I think you'll start to see trends like that with something like a Voice, which is also similarly modeled to benefit more heavily the early adopters of the technology. So it's going to be interesting to see how this model progresses. It may even be something like what we saw with the ICO craze in Ethereum. So really exciting stuff there. And that was some of the nuggets I had hoped to share today at a meetup I actually hosted here in Phoenix. So I had put out, my crawlers in Phoenix, and every week or every other week or so, I try to host a meetup here in the community. I had one brave soul come and chat with me. So you know who you are. Thanks for coming through. But beyond that, we didn't really have too many people show up. So sometimes, as I mentioned in my show, showing up is more invaluable than almost anything else. So I'm going to mute this person until maybe a little bit later, because I'm just finding it distracting and they're not actually saying anything. Akon, if you want to say something, definitely put something in the chat so I know you have something to contribute. Otherwise, I'm just going to put you on mute for now, just to keep the quality of the stream pretty crisp. But yeah, that was a huge story. So I thought today that was like a little bit of a nugget that I just threw out there to people. And it's something I didn't know about. I actually just happened to randomly stumble upon a Telegram discussion in the Everything EOS channel. So shout out to Rob and company there. I think it might have been also Zach and Mark Woods out of Virginia there, who always has the little nuggets. But they had started talking about good money, and I just decided to do some research on it and log in because I had already signed up before, but I didn't see that page that I shared earlier tonight. And now, obviously, the word's out and people are distributing it, which is awesome. So hopefully we can get a lot of people to sign up for what I'm going to call the People's Bank. And hopefully this is the first of many models we see take shape within the EOS ecosystem and globally, because these are the kinds of things we're going to need to, I think, take back freedom, right? Some ability to have control over things. I mean, if we don't have ownership in the very facets of systems and technologies we use, how can we expect to gain respect in the society? We can't, right? And actually what I'm hoping to see more of is systems that allow us to have infrastructure and our food resources as well, to just further allow us to have independence and resiliency. So I'm really setting up this channel, after I saw a lot of the news this week, and I told a lot of my family members this too. I'm really thinking I need to set up this channel to start putting my feelers out there with other people who are like-minded and getting into the mindset of being organized, and whether it's in the United States or maybe somewhere else, having a game plan to, be healthy, have our food supplies, have our land, and just have like a game plan where we are very mobile and nomads, right? We don't want to be chained down to an area that maybe is not treating us in the best way they can. And maybe for other people it works, but I am finding myself being more open-minded and expanding my horizons to all the potential of what's out there. So if you guys feel that message, hit the like button and consider adding some of your perspectives in the chat tonight. So that's what's going down there. Again, for those that want to participate in the discussions, definitely join the Zoom call. Right now we had one participant, he dropped off, so I think we're going to go back to the other stream page and do it that way. Let's try it this way, guys. I think this is actually a pretty good view. What do you guys think? I'll put myself down here, and you guys can... How's the audio? If someone can let me know how the audio is going with this, that'd be great. This is the first time I'm kind of setting it up in this manner, so it would help out if you guys let me know how the quality is on the stream. So in terms of market, where the market is at, you guys know it was kind of a blood day today for some people from their perspective. 3%'s a lot for people. 3%'s nothing for an OG veteran, or even someone who's been in the space for a few years. So we had Bitcoin down a little over 3%, has a $200 billion market cap. It's still pretty up there. Definitely not at $20,000, but you know what? I think we'll take 11,000 any day, and it's on its way to 20 and soon 50. And I think there's a lot of scare tactics right now that are trying to shake people out of their positions, but you can't really fall for that stuff, guys. You know, this Trumpster, and then we have the IRS saying their stuff, and you have the regulators saying their stuff. The reality is the rich are buying this dip, and they've been buying it all the way down, trying to get a better deal and trying to shake out the hands of what you're holding. So don't fall for their tricks. It's all trickery. It's all an illusion, just like a lot of things are. And you got to see through it, okay? So Bitcoin holding pretty strong at 11. It'll probably hover between 8 to 14,000. But, you know, we're not about the small wins. Personally, I'm not about it. And I've told people immediately close to me about this. You know, we're about the longer term view of where things are going. Okay, we just had Steve Mnuchin come out and basically say that they're running out of money. Okay, thank you, Break, for confirming that, and shout out to Mr. Holem for coming through on the chat. So if you guys want to participate in the Zoom chat, you can find a description below. I'd appreciate a dynamic conversation here. So if anybody actually wants to do that, get my attention in the YouTube chat and then drop in the Zoom chat, and we can have a little nice discussion if you guys want to do something like that tonight. But as I was saying, don't fall for the trickeries here. You're going to see it probably hover. It can go down, you know, 10, 20%. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're doing dollar cost averaging, as you've heard Phoenix talk about over the past more than half a year now, right? We start talking about buying huge bags in November, December. You can go back and check those out, right? And in retrospect, those are pretty good moves. So going to 8,000 is nothing. And in fact, I wouldn't be angry if it did go down there, because maybe I want to secure another BTC, another whole BTC, and it's going to become increasingly harder to do that as the price goes up, and as more people become aware of it, as more wealthy people want exposure to this, and as the technology becomes easier to acquire and store and secure, you're going to see different personalities come into the market and want to get exposure to this asset class, because right now it's not very easy to manage all these things. Let's face it, you know. You have to understand about wallet security and technologies, and there's a risk you could still lose your investments. And for the vast average Joe or well-to-do, you know, I was in Scottsdale today, actually, and here in Arizona. For those that don't know, Scottsdale is a more well-to-do area here within the Phoenix suburbish area. And I like to just get around, you know. I like to listen, I like to observe, and I like to see what the sentiment is, what the hunger is for the knowledge. And I can tell you guys, based on the turnout of my meetup and just based on the conversations I was hearing, that people aren't really in tune with this technology yet. People aren't really paying attention to it. So if you guys think that you've seen anything yet, my opinion, just someone who's been in this space and who's listened to people like Max Kaiser for a number of years, I think this is just the early stages of this game. I don't think we've seen anything yet, because you're not seeing the retail interest in this technology, and the average person doesn't get it or doesn't have time to understand. And it will take, in my opinion, black swans, unfortunately, for a lot of people to understand the predicament maybe we're in as a country. Because again, you have people like Steve Mnuchin talking about how the United States is running out of money, and they're going to need another approval for printing more money out. And so what do you think that's going to do to the United States dollar? And you have to believe that a lot of people are going to want to gain different types of exposure in the markets, right? It's not just going to be about it's not just going to be about someone who's who just wants to invest money and make money, right? It's going to be people who ultimately want to protect their generational wealth. And there's only so many Bitcoins in the world, and if you look at even the United States and how many millionaires there are, it's simple logic, guys. It doesn't take a genius to know that. Now factor in the pension systems, which are bankrupt, including here in this state. they're bankrupt. They mismanage their money, and a lot of the people who manage it are petty people, you know. And I'm not getting on a tangent here, but a lot of them, you know, the pension person from these companies takes them on a nice lunch, maybe for lobster and steak, and they're cheap dates. You know, they sell out basically on a cheap dinner and steak. You know, to sell out their fellow men and women, and that results in a mismanagement of the funds, and then people can't retire. So this is the Max Kaiser style way of the realization of where we're living, and a lot of people don't like it, but that's the truth. And so we have to start thinking, as especially the younger people who watch this show, and you know, some of the middle-aged people, you got to start thinking for yourself and thinking outside the box. And so that's what this channel's about. But anyway, Bitcoin holding strong there. We got Ethereum down 2%. We got Litecoin at 100%. It is falling, but you know, there is a lot of exciting stuff coming out for Litecoin. We got the Litecoin halving, and we have the Litecoin announcements that are coming out at their annual event. So I expect to maybe hear about a lot of partnerships, and I'm agnostic to all chains. I think the chains collectively do well when, you know, they all have news and they're all developing and they all have superpowers, just like human beings. Each person has a quality or uniqueness, something they bring to the world. And it doesn't need to be one chain to rule them all. In fact, we really wouldn't want that, because that's a way to further centralize and control things, right? So you want to have multiple competing currencies, multiple ways to trade value. And cryptocurrency is just one. Gold is another one. Silver, you know, it's strategic. You know, all these things help. EOS at $4.72. Took a little bit of a beating this past week. I think there were a lot of concerns about the governance and voting issues. There was some frustration, as we talked about, with voice, but I think a lot of that's being refined and worked out. We have a date for the 1.8 software release to hit on the mainnet. That's going to be September 23rd. So look out for that. Mark your calendars. And you have projects like Good Money, which are demonstrating this new, I would call this new economy, right, that we're seeing emerge, where the early adopters of these technologies are going to receive the most benefit. And you heard a similar thing about voice itself, right? That kind of like Good Money, that the people who sign up the earliest are going to be the ones that receive the most rewards. And as it scales and as you do the S curve of adoption, right? Because right now we're at this level, but eventually we're going to reach that, I guess you can call it the asymptotic or the parabolic move, right, up. And then the rewards aren't so great, but at that time it's more certain that this technology is transformational and it's an advantage for most people to use. So you don't want to wait for the average Joe to figure that out. You can wait, but I mean, in my opinion, it's smarter to be ahead of the curve and be an early adopter and become an advocate and make yourself valuable just in that way, right? Being an advocate for the technologies, and also having your ability then to gain resilience and independence from the technology. So it's kind of a balancing act, but we're definitely seeing the beginnings of this. And what I'm really looking forward to seeing personally is EVA coming into the United States. So we haven't heard a lot about that. I want to try to reach out to the EVA guys. If someone has a more insider contact for EVA, I'm wanting to get them into the United States. I think we need to make that happen very soon. I think we need to start demonstrating these technologies. We need to start putting the flag down, because the regulators are coming in the space quickly. They're moving quickly. And I think rather than wait for complete approval on things, I think that taking more of the Uber approach in some ways could be beneficial for a project like that. Now, are they willing to take that risk? I don't know. But I think waiting around for government is never a good idea. And, you know, if they order it to be shut down, that's one thing. But I think having a pilot, maybe working with the local government that is interested in at least piloting the technology, is something that we could do. I mean, here in Arizona, they pilot self-driving cars. Self-driving cars, you know, and here we're talking about a project that would still be human controlled and that rewards users and empowers them. So we need to find a way, guys, to get organized and try to get in touch with the EVA team and get that here in the United States. That's my perspective. So, in any event, I want to give a shout out to Ernest of Gaia. When is Good Money going to launch? Been there, email for EVA. I don't know when they're going to launch exactly. It's probably going to be a while, to be honest with you. It might even be 1.5 to 2 years because of the regulatory environment that we've seen. But I think signing up now and expressing your interests is, you know, what do you have to lose? And the same with voice, right? Voice is subject to a lot of those regulations. So I was having an interesting conversation today with a guy who comes to my meetups, and you know, we were talking about this, and the sentiment from many people is disappointment in EOS. But you know, my perspective on the whole thing is we haven't really seen the U.S. give the nod or give the ability for people to participate, grow these ecosystems and participate in them. The regulations right now are stifling the innovation. So it's, on the one hand, you know, we can blame Block One for maybe the perceived lack of execution on some of these things, but ask yourself this. I mean, we have EVA, right? We have EVA that is getting piloted in Canada right now. And there's fears and concerns about doing that in the United States. Why? Because of our regulatory environment. It's not conducive to growing these ecosystems. So even if you had the technology, I'm not sure you could even deploy it in the manner that you'd like to. And that's a problem. So we're going to need help from the regulators, or as early adopters and as innovators, we're going to need to find a region that values our talent and values our vision for what things are possible, right, in the world. So right now you're not seeing it, in my opinion. You're not seeing this at all. So it's just something to keep in mind, guys. It's one thing to have the technology, you know, and I know we have a lot of the coins, like we have the dice games and poker games, but what I'm talking about more is something that people who have no idea about blockchain can use and appreciate, and something that empowers them and changes their life for the better. You got Uber and Lyft that are taking like 25-30% from these drivers, and if we're able to get that down to 10% and also scale that into a co-op that is a DAPP, where people can vote on decisions being made within that community, that changes the whole game. If we can do the same thing in terms of land rights and co-purchase land, okay, here in Phoenix and in other areas, and start growing our own food with our neighbors, it creates a whole different type of sovereignty, okay, food sovereignty. There's all kinds of sovereignty that we need. Financial sovereignty is one of them. The ability to have speech and communicate with each other is another one. And health and wellness is a huge one. And I don't think we're there yet. So, you know, I know what time it is. I think you guys know what time it is. And I think y'all know what you need to do. So what I would ask of you guys, and I would, you know, think what you guys need to consider, and what I'm considering is, you know, participating more in your local communities and participating in shows like this one. Maybe we can't do it every night, but maybe once a week we have a show where you come on Zoom and you duke it out with me, you know, and we talk through things, because that's really the only way that we're going to succeed, is if we create the awareness and we understand what's going on. Shout out to EOS USA News. I believe that's Clay Albright. Thanks for tuning in, brother. I always enjoy your content, and I want to thank you for getting me live today. He indicates here, Libra coin looks an awful lot like delegated proof of stake. Yes, 100 nodes, shared governance. It does, but unlike the DPoS we have for EOS, it is bought and paid for. So, again, the key here, I think, with this is going to be the education and awareness. Because yes, you do have a good point that that I think from the perception of an average Joe who knows nothing about blockchain technologies, they'll take one look at what this Libra project is, and they're going to think it's the same thing. They're not going to know the difference, in fact, right? It's not going to be till much later. And so it's going to be up to block producers, EOS USA and others, and non-block producers. I'm not a block producer, but I think it's important for people to be educated and at least understand that they have a choice in this game. And for some people, it may not even be EOS. It might be Bitcoin, it might be Litecoin, but just understanding that they have a choice and that there's different qualities to these chains. Instead of just, getting herded into this Project Libra, which is probably going to be a backdoor for the government. And, I'll say it again, like I said before, one of my concerns with Voice even has been that, what type of concessions, if any, will be made to get the approval from the U.S. government. I'm not letting Block 1 off because I think we gotta raise our voice about that, because even though Block 1 is a lot of people like them and they created the software, you got to be cautious on all this stuff. So I'm just saying. We got EOS Blocksmith in the house. Thanks for stopping in. I wonder if that's Shaheen, but shout out to you for stopping in and catching us live. Yeah, we trying to educate up in here. That's right. I don't know if you guys heard, but for those that just joined the chat, the live stream here, I did find a little nugget today with Good Money. They apparently are giving away or reserving shares for people who sign up early on in their, I guess, beta signups in some way. So I posted a link in my description you can find below. Sign up for that. Get your reserve of shares for this People's Bank, if you will. That was pretty impressive. I don't think anybody had found that yet, and now it's hitting the Twitter space. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely check it out. And EOS Blocksmith or Clay, EOS Blocksmith, Shaheen, or Clay from EOS USA, if you guys want to jump in, there's also a I'm also trying this funky little Zoom setup. I'm trying to get started here. So if you go in the description below, you'll find a link to a Zoom chat. And if you click on that, it'll actually open up into the show. And I think you could participate if you want to add any nuggets of your wisdom, or you have a topic you want to discuss. Definitely governance is high on the list. The Good Money, the EVA apps, all these exciting things we got going on. We got Voice going on. So even though the price right now is slightly depressed, and people are feeling down and out and probably a little bit scared, I would say, to those people, don't get fazed by it. I told you guys what I was doing yesterday, and what I indicated to you guys is not getting scared about little 3% moves, right? You can't let those kinds of things get you down. So that's what I would say to you guys. I know it's hard, especially for the some of the newbies, to keep that in mind, because you see like a 3% move and you're like, the sky's falling, or you see people talk about it going to $8,000. But what you have to understand is that this is all a game. It's all a illusion. So it's game theory 101, and we know what's happening with the U.S. dollars. We know what's happening with the economy. So it's only a matter of time before even average people start to figure out what the alternatives are. Has that happened yet? No, it hasn't happened yet. So before they catch on to things, I think now is your time to accumulate and dollar cost average. Okay, Blocksmith says he can't find the link. The link should be in the description below, but it may not be there. It should be in like the actual my live stream itself. But let me see if, how can I do this? Let's see. Let's do a couple of things here. Let's see what we can do. Sorry guys, let's try to do this on the fly. Yeah, it should be in the description, but I will, let's see, I can try to post it in the actual chat. Let's see if this works. Okay, maybe you can't get the description that way. But let's see, close chat. Yeah, I don't know what. So I posted the link in the description. I'm not even sure if it's going to show up. It might censor my own content, but I did post the post that right there. So we'll see. Oh, there's Shaheen. Shaheen dropping through. Oh yeah, baby. What's going on, Shaheen?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Shaheen in the Shaheen in the dark room.
Yeah, I'm in the car. I'm in the passenger seat, but I was like, I gotta support my boy.
Yeah. So what's going on? What is your sentiment so far with the EOS community? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
I think whenever like the price takes a downturn, everybody kind of gets quiet and loses some of that energy that we all get when the price is going up and things are happy. So I think we're kind of just in one of those lulls right now.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Do you think that we'll see any movement beyond the software upgrades to 1.8 governance being baked in the cake? Or do you think that's wishful thinking?
I think that's a good question. I think a lot of people are looking at that and saying, well, if we're not upgrading to 1.8 till like at least September, towards the end of September, and voice isn't going to happen, until at least we upgrade, that there's no kind of upside to EOS for the next few months. And I think from a fundamental standpoint, I think that is a valid concern. I think there's other projects building that we're just not hearing a lot about. Actually, I know that there's other projects building.
Allegedly.
But the thing about the crypto market is that fundamentals, while valid, is not what dictates the price. I mean, those of us that have been in this space for a while know that like sometimes fundamentals don't. Sometimes you see these huge fluctuations of price that have nothing to do with fundamentals. So I wouldn't count it out that we might see a spike in EOS along with other stuff just as the market kind of moves.
Yeah. Do you think though that we'll see something like Dan's proposal for BP Olympias? You know what I'm talking about? The competitions.
Yeah. I think that it's a good question. I feel like Block One, talks about like the government game sometimes, but then doesn't like. Dan writes some good articles, but like Brendan Bloomer was going to do this government piece. And then kind of that never happened last year, right? So I feel like, and I personally think like Dan wants to be involved and wants to do this stuff, but then like the legal team at Block One is like, slow your roll,
dude. So I'm curious, did you? Yeah, so I'm curious, what excites you? I mean, right now, out of everything that you've seen as of late, since the June 1 event, is there anything that, is on your radar in terms of things that maybe the community should keep a watchful eye on, or something that excites you in terms of technology that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, what I think is really cool right now is that we're seeing all these different EOSIO chains pop up, right? Like, Wax just launched, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, their mainnet. And so they're doing their token swap over from like, the ERC20 protocol. And then, the BEOS chain just concluded their raindrop and they're kind of just getting things started. You got Boz chain that has is testing the 3-second lib, and finality. So you're seeing like these different chains that are kind of like, creating their own little niches and experimenting, on EOSIO software. And I think that only serves to strengthen all of the EOSIO chains, because what experiments we do on one chain and successes we have on one chain can easily be ported to all of them. So that's like one of the really exciting things for me right now.
Wow. In terms of, just in terms of where we are at, it's hard to believe, but a little over a year ago right now, right, the EOS mainnet was launched. And so to imagine, here we are in July of 2019, are we farther than you think we would be? Are we right at where you think we'd be? Or are we a little bit behind of where you think we'd be? Because for me, I'm almost thinking that we're a lot farther than what I would have imagined, even though I think the sentiment is down overall, just in terms of the recent expectations. But
yeah, that's a good point. I think expectations are a huge part of happiness in anything, right? Like if you're this from life, right? If your expectations, if you think you're going to get off work early, and you get off of work on your normal time at 5 p.m., then that is like a bummer for the rest of the day, right? But if you think you're going to get off work late one day because it's super busy, and then you get off on time or early, the rest of that day is like the best day in the world, right? So it's all about expectations. And I think in some ways, we're way beyond what I thought, kind of like, you were saying, as far as there's maybe 9 different EOSIO chains
now
that are are getting their stuff going. That's incredible. I remember the struggle for 2 months. Us block producers were trying to figure out how we were going to get this first chain launched. The mainnet, and we're rehearsing the launch protocol, and all these people are not even knowing how to run a node. And now I remember our DevOps guy. The last time we joined a chain, I think we wanted to spin up on Boz, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it took me about a total of 30 minutes to get our node spun up on Boz."
Wow.
So it's just night and day in terms of how quickly, how facile we've become with the technology. On the flip side, I think, going back to the expectations thing, I think I'm a serial optimist. I'm always the glass is half full, but I bought into the Kool-Aid for June 1st, and I was really expecting, at least, I loved Voice. I think some people were disappointed by the announcement, but I thought Voice was awesome, but I was expecting it to launch that night or within a week or two.
You were expecting the Steve Jobs, show, right? The show and tell and the narrative, and basically go out and sign up and use it, right?
Yeah. Well, even with Apple, they'll announce a product, but they're okay, these are gonna ship next month. You know what I mean? But we're waiting. They announced June 1 so far ahead, and then when June 1 came, they're okay, yeah, we don't have a timeline for Voice yet. It's
So, building up the suspense.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's interesting? What I found is, who knows? Maybe because of the less awareness of this, if the product is actually good, you'll still see the interest driven there, and it provides an incentive for the early adopters of these technologies to participate in them, right? We just saw that with Good Money, which I mentioned earlier in the show today. I don't know if you caught that, but they're giving out Good Money is basically a new banking platform or banking concept that is supposed to be owned by the users of the bank, right? The consumers of the bank.
Oh, yeah, right. I remember this announcement. This is a few months back they announced it, right?
Yeah, but they're literally giving away, I think it's 12,000 shares to early signups, people who sign up early. Now they have a screen, they have on their screen 12,000 shares reserved for you if you sign up for this technology, sign up for this platform. So I'm wondering if you're going to see that with not only Good Money, but Voice and Eva and other projects. And so it could become an interesting opportunity, income opportunity, and value proposition for people who are willing to at least try these things early on when no one else values them very much. So,
well, I think that's one of the most exciting parts of the whole blockchain space, right? Is all these new opportunities are popping up, and people are finding ways, to make money or make passive income, in these new creative, with all these new tools and all these new protocols. And so I think there's going to be tons of opportunities like that. And it's, you're like just talking about it right now. I'm like, dang, my boys let me know I got to go sign up for this good block thing right now. It's like that's why educating yourself on all these things and keeping abreast of all this stuff is so important.
Yeah, the funny part is I hadn't seen anybody report on that screenshot that I captured. So now a lot of people are retweeting it, and in fact they're creating their own links for this stuff. So it's neat to see. Like, we're spreading the word, and we're increasing the signups, which is pretty cool. But I'm really hoping to see like you Voice, hopefully the debut, like a target date get announced. Maybe we don't have it now, but maybe they say, well, we're anticipating 1.8 September 23rd. Maybe there's an opportunity late October to try this out, and hopefully with different options as well, because I know KYC and privacy has been a concern for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's, I think they're gonna have to kind of figure that out, like, maybe with the beta, when that comes out, like how they want to unfold the whole thing. But I mean, I'm one of those in the camp, again, I told you I'm a serial optimist, right? But like, I'm one of those that, like, I really do think that the design of Voice is such that, that they're, it's so easy once they get a few like big influencers, right? To just have like just the domino network effect, So
yeah, it's crazy. But hey, I was curious. I have a question for you guys locally there in San Francisco. When are we gonna have another expo, man? That thing was that event was amazing. Had so much fun meeting up with other people. Are we going to see another one in 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, man. No, we had so much fun that we definitely want to do it again. And so right now we are working on another EOX World Expo, but it's going to be in Asia, and we're looking at like November.
Okay.
This year, so keep posted. Details to come.
Okay. We're in Asia. Do you guys know where?
The name. We're kind of finalizing the details. Originally, it was going to be China, but we're kind of trying to make sure we're not going to run into, governmental issues with blockchain events.
I like the. He's. Yeah.
To be political,
Yeah.
So,
cool. No, I'd love to. I was telling other people here today, here in Phoenix at the meetup group, that we were thinking to go there anyway. We were thinking it would be a neat opportunity to go to China and just check it out. Because from what I heard at the DC event, it's like it's off the chain in terms of development and activity going on there. It's incredible. So
yeah.
It's probably worth visiting, to be honest with you.
I think it is. And
Shaheen?
For us to, kind of check.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Okay. I think we lost.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah. Allegedly back.
Yes. Okay, we lost you at a.
It's so easy to get to China, nowadays, and I think it's worth the trip, and I think it's worth us seeing. I mean, like you said, at the DC event, and then at the we had the Tulip conference, like the EOS BP Summit at Tulip right after these BPs. Like, hey, the largest EOS community is in China. All the DAPP users are in China. Don't forget, that's where even though you guys are doing like a lot of the technological side of stuff, like the user adoption stuff is all happening in China right now, and that's where it's at. So, and it was good. It was like we needed to hear that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the realization, plus the allegedly our government isn't so high on cryptos right now. So that was another thinking of mine. I think it's smart of you guys to maybe go after these other markets and organize there. And I hope we can have a couple people from Phoenix join you guys for that. So I'll definitely look to plan to go if we get ample notice. So.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Awesome. Well, you'll be on my first to know list, brother.
Yeah, cool.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. And then I think I want to make it an annual event in SF because I think it's just a fun location and a good community. So we're going to try to do it again maybe April, May next year.
Wow.
Keep it going.
Yeah,
so.
That'd be awesome. Well, what else is Blocksmith working on? Anything else you want to mention before closing it out?
Oh yeah, man, you're giving me the mic, a little plug. I like it. No, appreciate it. We're excited about Wax right now. We're trying to help them get their chain going. So we just reg produced on that chain, and we are working on a tool because all these chains are popping up, and so we're seeing like new VPs. For example, like EOS USA. They're kind of new on the scene, but they're doing awesome stuff. They're making a big splash. Clay, Michael, really excited to have them in the community. We're trying to make a tool that we're kind of codenaming Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
Basically, yeah.
All right.
It's a tool for VPs or people that want to get into the VP game, or at least just throw up a node. DAPPs want to have their own nodes sometimes, and I know people like the Bitcoin community that run a full node just because they want to have access to the chain, like
right.
Not a light wallet kind of thing. And so this is like software that'll help anyone kind of just get a node up real quick and manage like multiple nodes very easily. So that's what we're working on right now, and it'll be open software.
Wow.
So
that sounds amazing. Yeah. When's that supposed to drop, you think? That's okay.
No. So it's actually been in the works for a while, but that's kind of like the life of a VP, right? Like all of a sudden something pops up and we gotta like shift gears for a little bit, and then in the downtime get back to that. So I can't give you a timeline on that, but I'll let you know. Keep your ears open.
All right. Well, thanks for dropping in, Shaheen. I really appreciate you tuning into the show, and always appreciate your content and your perspective on things. And anytime you want to come back on the show, hopefully I'll have the link and you can drop by regularly. And for those that are watching, consider supporting EOS Blocksmith. Shaheen Counts joining us here live. So, yeah. Rep your game.
Love what you're doing, Phoenix. Love your content. It's some of the highest quality content out there, and really giving that information to the peoples. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
Right.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
All right. That was Shaheen, everybody. It was so nice of him to just drop by while he's driving or in the car. I hope everybody enjoyed that. And hopefully we get some more people to come on the show. You don't have to be a BP. I'm looking for just like, ideally even we have non-BPs who drop in and share their sentiments and opinions on things, because that's what this is about. It's about a community. And I'm trying to do this a little bit differently than a lot of the other shows, and trying to make it more engaging and hopefully have one of the most diverse shows too. Have people from all kinds of walks of life and views on things, and even regions. If we can get people even from the East on this show, how awesome would that be? So if you guys like this content, consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing. I want to thank Crypto Life for dropping in. I did see you there. I'm in Phoenix. I am in the East Valley of Phoenix. So if you're in or around that area, definitely stop by. Check out the meetup groups, Project EOSIO. We've had 45 events since probably around the launch for EOS. So I don't know of too many other groups, one-man shows that have more events than I put together, and with the help of maybe one other person here locally that we've been able to do. Now, we don't have the biggest turnout, but, in terms of just what at least we're doing, I think it's a noble effort. And I think you guys can do the same, and every little ounce of information, hopefully you got something out of today's show. I think it helps, it gives you an opportunity to engage in these applications and become an early adopter and benefit from it and tell your friends about it. So I want to close out the show with a summary of some of the recent chats and then end the show. So Ernest of Gaia says, I use Blabber, SenseChat, Murmur, Decentium, Karma, Effect AI, which we covered yesterday, LoxIO Dex, Boyd, Prospectors, EOS DAC member, Vita DAC member, and use these on a weekly basis. Keep an eye on those projects and EOS Airdrops DAC. Chintai on top of that, and the occasional Morty bribe. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and I hope everybody enjoyed the show. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous Saturday evening. I know it's a little bit late for some people, and I appreciate you guys taking your time because I know you could be somewhere else. So until next time, this is Phoenix signing off, and we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Thank you.